As with Triads, kids. Hello and welcome to Fender Play Live. I'm Eugene Edwards, and thank you for joining us tonight from all over the world. We have people checking in from the UK, cheers, from Brazil, obrigado, and Australia. I hugged a koala once. They call it the Australian prom photo. You take a picture with a koala and you look to the side. Anyway, I'm Eugene Edwards coming to you live, and today we're talking all about triads. They may sound a little intimidating at first, but we'll start simple and show you why these are great tools for both rhythm and lead playing. Plus, we're announcing this week's Fender Play Gear giveaway winner, so stick around. Now, helping us with today's topic is an FPL newcomer. Please make him feel welcome. It's Brandon Bae. Say hello, Brandon.
Hi. How's it going, everyone?
Lovely to have you here. And we're also joined, as always, by the one and only Dylan Caligiuri. Doctor, are you here?
I am here. I'm in the building. Triads. Commence.
Thank you, Doctor. I appreciate that. Now, for those of you that don't know Brandon already, he was born and raised in L.A. He's a SoCal guy. Classically trained. He learned piano. Started learning piano at 4. Started playing guitar at 13. He went to study jazz guitar at USC. He's played with musicians like the group The Broods, with the singer Banks, Brockhampton, and Mind Design. Now, Brandon, tell us what you're playing there. I noticed something kooky about the headstock of that guitar.
Yeah, so upon first look at this guitar, it's a Strap. If you look at the headstock, it says Telecaster Deluxe.
How can this be, Brandon?
Well,
wow.
Yeah, so it's just kind of a mystery.
It must be from Australia because it makes no sense. It's
Exactly.
like a platypus of a guitar.
I hope so. Yeah, definitely. It's just not really something that caught my eye, but I think it's the obscurity of it and just the novelty kind of drew my attention.
We're assuming that the neck comes from an old Tele Deluxe, right?
Yeah.
And then what's going on with the paint job?
Oh, yeah, the paint job is really messed up. As you could see, it's yellow, but originally it was a white guitar. And then
Custom.
Yeah, and
It's now
as you
custom.
can see, there's like gold paint. So apparently someone tried to like paint over the white guitar with gold, and obviously they didn't use the right kind of paint.
No.
Speaks to
Exactly.
entropy and the erosion of
Right.
man.
Well, this
Yes.
story, this guitar has a story, and it needs to be told.
Yeah.
Can we hear this guitar in action?
Yeah,
Show off a little bit for us.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That sounds
Lovely.
good.
And then Dylan, come to think of it, it's contagious because Dylan, you're playing a Telecaster, which also has a Strat headstock. So
That's right. But this is it's the Strat headstock. It's a Tele Deluxe. It's seafoam green. It's got the kind of Lawler style pickups in it. Let's see. This guitar does every style of music short
so smooth.
of Celtic. I haven't been able to get a Celtic out of it.
you get a drone going.
I think I could get it.
So
I need to try harder. That's what it is. I need to try harder.
This, of course, is my first electric guitar, the 1986 Squire, made in Japan, which, of course, I've thrown some mini humbuckers in it since. So we've seen this guitar. It's a trusted old thing that I've had since I was 13. Okay, now let's get to it. If you have questions about tonight's topic, drop them in the comments. We'll get to them. Tonight's episode is going to start with the absolute basics, and then we'll build towards the advanced side of things. So we will have something for everyone. Now, let's start with hearing some triads in action. Brandon, can you play something for us that kind of really exhibits triads?
Yeah, sure. Couple of triads.
There
right
you go.
Yeah.
Triads.
All right.
Now, obviously, there were some triads in there.
There was a few triads in there.
Maybe they may have been beyond basic, but that's
Yeah.
fine. We'll start at the beginning. Brandon, what's the textbook definition of triads?
So triads, I mean, really, really simple. 3 notes. And I think just generally, I like to think very basically triads will consist of the root, the 3, and the 5. Obviously, that expands. The beauty of triads is that can expand into a lot of different uses. But I think just basically, you can think of it as 1, 3, 5, just 3 notes, 3 different notes. And I think you can do like different combinations. The beauty of it is you don't have to always play. For example, if we're playing a C major triad, you don't just have to play C, E, G. You can mix and match G, C, E, or
can you run?
E,
can you
G,
run
C.
through those? Those would be inversions. Can you run through just the C major? Would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's 1, and the beauty of this, I can go up the neck and it's E, G, C. If I go up the neck to a different inversion, I just flip the notes a little bit. G, C, E.
And you're playing the same 3 strings. You just
exactly. Yeah. And I think what's great about it is there's 3 notes, so there's only really, if we keep them close together, like there's only 3 different combinations we can have on each on the strings, same 3 string sets. So
right
here, and then when we get to here, it's kind of the same triad, just an octave higher. So
so they're a great way to really get comfortable with playing further and further up the neck.
Definitely.
Or it's almost like we're tethered to an idea, so we're not going to get too lost if we're in the beginning stages, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So now, what makes them different from chords like your open G, open A?
Yeah, so an open A or an open G, I guess let's look at G, for example. If you look at just like an open G chord, which most of us probably learned it like this, sometimes some people might learn it like that. If you really look at what the notes are, it's only 3 notes. It's just some of them are doubled up. So, for example, a G triad, the root, which is G, the 3, which is B, and then the 5, which is D. This chord is just those 3 notes just layered on. So G, B, D, G, B, G. And then if we leave our ring finger there on that 3rd fret, that's a D. So literally 3 notes. And this is great because we get a big sounding chord. And so I think what we're focusing on, I really love about triads is that, especially on guitar, if we look at like piano players, for example, they have 10 fingers. You can really play a 10 note chord. I mean, that might be dense, but the possibility is there. Whereas us guitar players, we're trying to kind of make up for sound that we can't really produce like a piano player. So I feel like triads are amazing because we should take that opposite philosophy. Less is kind of more for a guitar player, and just kind of be okay with just playing 3 notes.
Very cool. I love just the approach of that, letting it empower us to do interesting things as opposed to thinking of ourselves as being limited because we only have 6 strings.
Yeah,
that's great. Now, Dylan, what are some lessons on the site that can help us get started with triads?
So there's a great group of lessons. It'll walk you from soup to nuts on how to play triads. It's mentioned actually in the description of this video. And it's a triad course. And so it runs through what a triad is, how to make them on the guitar, everything that Brandon was just describing. And I don't want to oversell these, you guys, but triads are where it's at. It's where it's at.
Really?
Get excited. That's right.
Wow.
And
That's
I want to show everybody at home a very simple way to look at the 3-note structure. And it's something you'll be able to do if you're in Path on Fender Play and expand on what you have available to you. So let's say you've got this F chord right here, okay? And like Brandon was saying, it's got the 1, 3, and the 5 in the key of F. So if we move around on the 2nd string, we add tension, even if you don't know what chord you're making, right? So I'm moving up a fret on the 2nd string, up another fret, up another fret. Now, if I want to make it a major or minor chord, I move the 3rd string. Sad. Happy. Now, to make it a sus chord, so this is a totally different chord. So I've got sus 4, sus 2, and that's all just moving around on the 3rd string. The other 2 notes are staying stable. And finally, last but not to be least, is moving that lowest F note down, which will make an entirely new chord and may remind you of a couple Beatles songs, perhaps. Yes. And if you move 2 notes at one time, and I'll close with this, it gets really complicated. So. And that's where we step into counterpoint. So what I would recommend is that you guys mess around with the sound of the triads, even if you don't understand the theoretical concept yet. Boom.
Play a triad, move one of the strings up or down. By the way, this reminds me of the voice leading episode we did a while back.
It sure does,
Sound
Eugene.
A lot of that. Yep. Thank you for telling me I'm right, Dylan.
Validation.
No. So let's talk about why and how you like to use triads, Brandon. Now, you mentioned before we went live that you like to play triads in A and E when demonstrating. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, I really love using A and E because if we're in standard tuning, I think either E or A, we have a note that can just drone. And so you can really use those triads and like hear how they relate to a certain key. So I'm going to use E. Tune a little bit. Yeah, so the most basic, obviously, if I'm playing E, if I just play an E triad, just kind of hear how that sounds all the way up. And then try different combinations. So, for example, an E major 7 is going to be a four-note chord. So, but if you really analyze this chord, there's actually a G sharp minor triad with an E in the bass. So I can kind of mess around. Where can I play a G sharp minor triad? And just kind of mess around, hear how that sounds. And you can get some really fun combinations and start experimenting and get more advanced. I think maybe if we talk more about this, we'll start getting to things like music like jazz or like certain chords like sus chords. Like sometimes like if I'm playing like a chord like that, I hear that a lot in like older music like Motown, like some R&B from the past. It's a G triad over A, which is kind of gives it a natural sus sound. But if I'm going to draw in an A, different places to play that G triad. That's
we hear that chord in one of the songs we have on Fender Play. Black Coffee in Bed by Squeeze has that.
Oh yeah,
has that chord. They do that. Black coffee in bed.
Right. Yeah. Totally.
They use it as a suspension there. We have a quick question from Johan Gohl, who's watching on YouTube. Got a feeling we need to know the cage system to play with triads. What say you, Brandon?
Yeah. No. Definitely. Because I think. Relating to different scales, especially in the cage system, is going to help. Also, the cage system is called the cage system because of those open chords. If you don't know what cage system is, I highly recommend looking into it. So cage is literally C, A, G, E, and D, right? And so just knowing those different chords, I think it's really important that we know what triads are in those chords.
That's a great point. Well, yes, because as I tell some of my students, we talk about the G shape, and in reality, we won't really play the actual all six strings of a G shape. But I'll tell you what, your index finger laying across the 5th fret of D, G, and the B string, that's everything. And we should take advantage of the fact that we have a perfect triad all on the same fret.
It's a stretcher.
On adjacent strings. Just there we go. Question from Easy123 watching on YouTube. Does it matter which order to play the notes? We were talking about inversions. Brandon, what do you, in terms of like whether the third is on top or the root's on top, or how does that help us with our rhythm playing, or what does that inform?
Well, that's actually a really good question, because I think we're just always assume that the root should be in the bass or at the lowest note. But I think in reality, like let's say I played a really common progression. Let's say I played in the key of E 1 5 6 4, which is super common. 1 5 6 4, right? So actually, if you really just let go and just let your ear do the listening, I actually don't need to give you all this information. You can actually hear that just simply by going. I can hear that progression even without this going on the bass, And I think it's really great as guitar players for us to liberate ourselves of feeling that pressure, because when we don't feel like we're so stuck on having to play like the bass note always has to be the lowest note. When we get rid of that, we have so much more freedom to play whatever we like.
In fact, we have an example of that on the site. Let's get into some playing examples. We mentioned at the top how these help with rhythm guitar playing, and there are some songs on Fender Play where you can learn that already use these triads. So, for instance, here's a great example. A song I learned when I was quite younger because it only had 3 notes on top. It's by the Specials, "Message to You, Rudy." It's in the key of C, and it's really just 1, 4, 5. But when we play the 5 chord, we play it here, and so the root is up on top. It's the highest note, so it's like. Time to straighten that out. Time to think of your future, creating problems in town. Rudy, and it goes on like that. And it just sticks with those 3 chords, but it's so evocative. But yeah, you've got the first chord is a C triad with the root on the bottom, yes. But the next chord's an F, which is a D shape at the 5th fret, and it's got the major 3rd on top. And the 5th on the bottom, and the root's right in the middle. And then the last chord has 3, 5, 1 on top. So it's kind of rotating inversions in a way while it's just going 1, 4, 5. And it's just 3 strings and 3 simple shapes. So Dylan, do you have an example of like a rhythm part that uses triads in a cool way?
Yeah, so I'm going to show you guys kind of a pianoistic way to use triads. So you're thinking left hand, right hand. So if we have the song "Papa's Got a Brand New Bag," James Brown. This is on the site too. So is the last song Eugene was talking about. The guitar part, I'll play the guitar and the horn parts. We got right. So if I add the bass line in. And it's using triadic shape. So this is actually a B minor shape. Mm-hmm. It's evoking an E 9th chord. However, what you find out as you dig further into this is music is permutations and commutations. It can be understood in many different ways. And the best way, if you're starting out to do it, is with your ear and a good guide, like, for instance, Fender Play, and to be able to kind of discern what you need to know when. So the question about voice leading and all of these things, it really helps to learn these things in context as you're moving through this. So that's your guide.
And also, Brandon, you were mentioning how the inversions, and you can layer them up the next. Here's another example of a song which has a great intro, which really exists just on the top 3 strings. And they're actually kind of inversions of more advanced chords, but they don't sound that way because of the attitude with which you're playing, because we're just playing the top 3 strings. Let's see if anybody recognizes this.
That was Mamas and the Papas, right?
See, I assumed you're going to sing that line. I thought you were going to do it, Dylan. I can't believe you.
All the leaves are brown. No, wait, it's not the right song.
So Roxanne by the Police has that. Now, of course, the more full chords are more like, E flat major 7 and D minor 7 and C minor 7. But they don't come across as these really jazzy chords because we're just kind of distilling it down to this triad up on top. And then the bass informs it differently. Kind of like Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, takes a B minor triad, but makes it an E9 because of what the bass player does. So
exactly.
So we have a question from Guitar Grandpa on YouTube. It says, "Walk Away by the James Gang on the site heavily uses triads." Well, yeah, you've got that.
Oh man,
that's all in the D, G, and B strings, for instance.
Yeah,
so
that's a killing one. That's
Grandpa.
A good example.
Now let's talk about soloing, Brandon. You're an exquisite soloist. So how do triads help you with soloing?
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Well, I think it's really important to play triads also in soloing because we don't want our solo to just sound like or all the time, right? I just feel like
scale up and down.
Yeah, like I love playing like that, but I think it's really important to be able to outline stuff, especially if we're playing by ourselves. If I played like a blues. Right? And then when I get to here, all triads. Even the 5 chord. And then back to the 4 chord. You know?
You're using those triads to inform us where the progression is going.
Yeah, exactly. And
But
I think
working it into your solo. Yeah.
definitely. And I think triads, especially in jazz, I think people get so intimidated by jazz because they think, I just have to know like so many chords and I have to know so many scales. But I think just kind of outlining just triads over chords, I think you'll really sound like you really know what you're doing in jazz, even without having like some advanced language that I feel like people always feel like they need, And if you really listen to, like for example, one of my favorite musicians in jazz is not a guitar player; it's actually Cannonball Adderley, who's an incredible sax player. And if you listen to his music, he's so lyrical and so melodic. And if you really break down the notes that he's playing, like there's a ton of just kind of outlining chords in like a very musical way. And then he'll of course play all that juicy, just chromatic, just wonderful language with that beautiful tone. But in the end, like he's really playing a ton of triads if you really outline it. And so I always recommend soloists especially know your triads.
Well, so obviously Cannonball was a sax player, so he can't play triads one at a time. He would at best, he would kind of, I guess what I'm trying to segue here is arpeggios.
Yeah, outline triads, my bad. Or arpeggios, I'm sorry.
So that's another way that we can spread out our playing or create a new rhythm part. Can you talk to us about arpeggiating the triads?
Yeah, no, definitely. Oh, yeah, no, you're totally right. But definitely, he can't play chords on the saxophone. But yeah, I think playing arpeggios is going to be related to knowing your triads as guitar players. And so even though triads is just 3 notes, I think stacking them on top of each other, I'm able to play arpeggios, which, and instead of going,
right.
You know what I mean? So that took how many notes to get from here to here? But if I play triads, I was able to get from here to here with pretty much the same amount of notes.
Right.
And so I think triads, when you play them as arpeggios, just going from up and down, that's like a really great skill to have.
And the ending of Hotel California is a good example of 2 guitars arpeggiating triads in harmony, and they do it, but they're just playing triads. I mean, yes, it sounds like this massive rock solo, but if we really stop and think about it, guys, it's based in triads, which I think is pretty hip. Now, Dylan, this may be going over some people's heads, so I think let's remind them of playing them in songs is a good way to learn them.
Yes.
We have songs in the comments on play.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, triads are not only for blues or jazz; they're also for metal.
Such as
rock.
Such as
My Name is Jonas. You guys may have heard of a little band named Weezer at some point. The
familiar.
solo from that song is literally just arpeggiated triads. Check it out. It's literally just the chords of the song spelled out, but just like you were mentioning on Hotel California, it's like such a melodic tool to be able to spell out what's happening, and it's very pianoistic. It's got space in it. So what Brandon was just talking about a second ago, why is it better to play sometimes a triad than a scale, is you're skipping over notes. You're using what's called tertiary harmony, henceforth the term triad, and you're skipping the 2 notes that would normally be in the scale to create a wider space sounding thing. So as you're moving through you can move through these triads and arpeggios in ways that allow you to sweep. They allow for all these other techniques that you hear that are these wide sounding space. I don't know. Is this helping at all? I'm not sure.
It's interpretive dance at the same time.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes, they're an amazing tool. They do take a while to learn, and don't let your head get in the way of the action of learning them and your
also
ears.
The rhythm of it. I know I played kind of a version of Ring of Fire just using triads, but even if you're doing like really quick, like 10-step country stuff, I do stuff like in the key of G, and I just use triads, all D, G, and B strings, and because of the hybrid picking thing, but just even a simple It's all triads.
Yeah, that's it.
Right? We're just
That's
starting to move it around there, but it's just three strings at a time, basically.
No, it's killing. Yeah.
Now, question from Sprint 53 by 11 on YouTube. Brandon mentioned not having to play the bass note with triads. Let's talk about how triads are helpful in a full band setting. This is great. This is where we separate the children from the adults here. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'll be leaving.
Take it.
That's an amazing question. Yeah, because I actually wanted to bring this up. So, little personal story. I actually played a gig where you just kind of show up, but we just play just jam with some friends, and we had a bass player that I had never met before, so just playing with him for the first time, and he actually got really annoyed at me because I was playing the root notes along with my chords, and he like in the middle of songs he kind of was like, hey, can you stop playing the bass notes? But he was totally right. Like there's really no need to play if there's like a bass player there,
That's right.
If the bass player is laying down, if the bass player is playing that, you don't really need to play this. The information's kind of already there. So
You're left with a triad, right?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of just plays. It's just better to just kind of play that instead, if that makes sense.
No, it's a great question. And also like that thing in G, I was doing this. Usually, Dwight's playing an acoustic, playing all full open chords. We've got a bass player playing 1 5 1 5. So I'm just trying to get out of their way,
right?
And yes, knowing inversions, trying to play out of in a different position than where the rhythm guitar player is playing, not playing a bass note, helps clear up the bottom end, stuff like that. It really creates more definition for the overall ensemble sound.
So when life gives you bass players, make triads. Is that what we're?
It's a cliche for a reason, Dylan.
Okay. All right. Got
now,
it.
another question from YouTube. This is from Miss Frijole. Oh, how have you been? Is knowing... That's not going on the sizzle reel. Is knowing relative major and minor important when using triads? Can you mix major and minor together? Brandon.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I think it's important to know both, but I think relative major and relative minor is actually an ideal situation because actually gives you a lot more options to play on one chord, if you know the relative major, relative minor. So for example, if I'm playing a B minor 7 chord, actually let's go back to E or A. I'm going to change the chord. So let's say I can use this A as a drone, relative major is C major, right? And so if I'm playing a C major chord, I can play a minor chord with the C major triads, which is amazing. And so also I think to add on to that, how you're kind of playing that country stuff, you're really making them super glittery. You weren't just playing chords, you were you're doing all this fancy stuff. And so I think everyone has their own personal language. So playing a C triad in C major, I can also do that in minor. So I can play all this stuff, all C major triads, but
sounds like
I'm just
such
adding
a
myself.
big chord all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you change the context. That's great. So we've heard how you like to use triads within your music. Could we maybe just hear you open up for a bit on some triads? Just play. Just
I would love to. Yeah.
And then we'll get on to some homework.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean,
Absolutely.
there's a lot of things going on that I was playing, but triads. I'm sure you notice like here and there. Oh, he was playing like 3 notes at one point. I think that's definitely a important reason why to be able to play triads. You can like sneak it into your own playing on the guitar and make it seamless.
You fold it in. Now, you answered a question just by virtue of playing that I saw earlier on the screen. Someone says, can triads be played on any sets of strings? And obviously the answer is absolutely yes. We talked about the top 3 strings, D, G, and B. I think you grab some A, D, and G. So yes, absolutely, you can play it. And they don't have to be next to each other either, right? Technically.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, that's D, B, and E. It's a triad, and they're not even next door to each other. So
that's
right.
You can mix and match. Let's get on to some homework. Dylan, are you ready to assign some homework, buddy?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, it's all you.
Brandon played gorgeous. Darn it.
He did.
I'm still in recovery.
That's right.
All right, I'll pull myself together.
We'll
okay,
get you some tapioca.
Geez, golly. All right, if you're a beginner and you've been watching this, congratulations. You made it to the end. Well, almost. We still have something to give away. But I want you to learn A triads ascending. So basically, can you show them that, Brandon? Can you show them an ascending A triads?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll start on the top 3 strings.
Right.
So as the first one, as the second one, and then the third one. And so
Excellent.
Actually, I guess I could start down here.
Give them that one,
So,
too.
yeah, that's a good point.
So
That's the beginning one, yeah.
exactly. So we got root 3 5 A C sharp E, and then we're gonna take that A and we're gonna those 3 notes. The A's right here. We're gonna take it to the top. So we got that, and then same thing. We're gonna take that C sharp on the bottom of this chord. We're gonna throw it on.
Put it on the top.
Move it up to
Right.
E.
So essentially, that's kind of what's going on when
Yep.
we do these different inversions.
That's perfect. Perfect. So that'll keep you busy, right? And if you're intermediate, we want you to learn the intro to Roxanne. Now, Eugene's going to cover that.
I can't talk and play the way that Brandon does, so don't expect such wizardry from me, okay?
Okay, that was fantastic. So that'll keep you busy too, because there's some string stopping going on there. Make sure you lean on the site for all this stuff. Check out Fender Play. Now, if you're advanced, okay, all right. So you're going to create a solo using triads and post it. Okay, so basically what this means a lot of things, right? You could try, you could arpeggiate them. You could put them in. You could move up the neck. You could create a solo so listen, there are so many options. Lean on Fender Play here. Go out, create something cool. I can't wait to hear it posted on the site.
Thank you very, very much. So you guys get started on that homework. Meanwhile, Dylan is going to start giving stuff away. It's you, Dylan. Back to you.
It's time. It's time. All right. So every week, if this is your first time here, we give away a free piece of gear to a lucky Fender Play subscriber simply for subscribing to Fender Play. All you've got to do is be a member and use it for a total of 21 minutes in a week, and you're automatically entered to win. You get to select from guitars, amps,
Basses,
bass amps, other, there's a lot of stuff in there.
ukuleles, maybe even.
Ukuleles, excellent point. And we pick a winner every week, and I get to say hopefully your name next time. But do you guys want to hear who won this week?
Absolutely. You want a drum roll?
Give me a drum roll. Let's get it in threes for triads.
I think it's
Tom
triplets.
H. Oh, Tom H.
Way to go, Tom H. Congratulations on getting your new guitar, bass, amp, whatever it is you choose. What else do you have for us, Dylan?
There are new songs on the site. There's new skills, new exercises, new songs. And by the way, there's something very exciting that's new on the site. I don't want to give it away, but you guys got to go on to check it out. But I will give away the new songs that are on there.
Okay.
One of these is, I'll play it first. Notice there's a triad there. So this is What I Say by Ray Charles, right? You may have heard of Ray Charles. He had a short career in music. Anyways, that one, and then Lunatic Fringe Red Rider by Lunatic Fringe is on.
Lunatic Fringe is the song. Red Rider was the band.
I knew I had it right.
Yeah.
See?
They're Canadian, so that's what threw you off.
That's what threw me off. So anyways, tons of new stuff on the site. Besides that, we've also got the new Barbie stuff on. So if you want to bring the kids, play some guitar, I might learn it too. I don't know.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you for that. Yeah. And all the guys in Red Rider really appreciate it too. Oh, that's making the blooper reel. Oh, you bet. Oh, producer Perry's getting that all wound up right now.
I didn't want to offend lunatics. No. I don't know. I just
not even the ones on the fringe. Well,
no.
Well, thank you so much, Dylan. Congratulations again to Tom H for your grand prize, and a huge thank you to Brandon Bae for helping us try our
job,
triads.
buddy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. You're in the
annals
brood now, so to speak.
Yes.
No, we want to hear what you have coming up. You have anything to plug, or even just how we can find out what you have going on?
Yeah. No, I mean, I live in Los Angeles, play around town a lot. I'm playing some shows that haven't been promoted quite yet, so
right.
I feel like
you don't want to get ahead of it.
I don't want to get ahead of it, but yeah, just keep an eye. I've been playing with artist named Mind Design, really cool local beat maker, makes really cool music. And I have an Instagram. You can follow me at enobae.com, ENOBAE. And yeah, if you want to see what I'm up to, I'll keep you guys posted on my Instagram. Yeah,
I'm sure everyone would be into that. And thank you again, Dylan, for helping out. For everybody else, thank you for watching, and all of you around the world, thank you for expanding our spot on the globe. Keep safe, keep practicing, and we'll see you next week at the same time. Everybody, we're going to play out on a G chord on the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. More triads, 3 at a time.